I'll start by asking, what's your name?
My name is Lupita.
My name is Raul.
Al-Hajj.
My name is Laura.
Jocelyn.
I am originally from Zacatecas, Mexico, and I left in November of 2013. So it's been 10 years officially.
So I am from Bogota, Colombia, and we moved here on April 1st, 2003.
So originally I am from Chichualco, Guerrero, which is about 2 hours from Acapulco. I left back in the early April of 1991. So I've been in the US for more than 30 years.
I'm from Sudan, and I live there because I'm looking for the better future for my family.
I was born in Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico, and we left in 2005 to be able to have, we were looking to have a better life here, and my parents brought us here to also just have better education here.
So my parents were looking for a better life, and I was 15, so I was just, I couldn't leave. I couldn't stay home, you know. So looking for better education, better opportunities.
We left Colombia to come here to the United States to seek asylum. So in Colombia, at the time, the FARC were very present. So the FARC is like this insurgent group that kind of like just terrorizes the community and like kind of in a way wants to change the government. By terrorizing the community, my family was in a way affected. So we just came here to seek refuge, to just seek help, just so we could live a more peaceful and calm life.
Unfortunately, that was the beginning of where the drug cartels were coming in. The town that I'm from was nestled basically in a mountainous area, so we were kind of cut off from everything else. But in the late 80s and early 90s, some of the drug cartels were coming into town. My mom and my grandma both owned a little store, and my mom would sell food in the evening. And one day, couple guys came in, you know, they didn't think nothing of it, and it wasn't until they were getting ready to pay that they refused and told my grandma and my mom that they needed to pay a security fee, or members of her family would start showing up dead. So my grandma got scared, and so did my mom. They all decided that it wasn't worth the risk, so we packed up everything. My mom told my brother and myself that we were going on a journey, and that we were gonna go meet other relatives, and we were gonna go live somewhere happier. And we left, and it was about 7 days altogether, a week on the road, and about 7,000 miles that we traveled, because we left where I'm from, and we ended up in Burley, Idaho. So it was about 7,000 miles that we traveled.
My parents initially didn't tell us we were coming, just because like I think they didn't want to tell us at a young age things we didn't understand. They told us we were going to Disney. Never been to Disney, so that was a lie. But for all good reason.
Like I said, my mom told us that we were going on a journey, and we were going to a place that we were going to be happier. So when we got there, it was still a little cold because it was like early April. But I don't think we were prepared. When we got there was mountains and stuff, so we saw something that was familiar to us. But I think it was the shock of that temperature change, because it was still a little bit colder.
My expectations were like, I'm gonna go to a big city. I could say that I got catfished by Gish, because I looked it up and I saw the palm trees. So Grand Island, I'm going to like a tropical place. I even left my cold weather clothes at home because I thought I was not gonna need them.
I think all I knew was like from the movies. So it was like, you know, New York, Chicago kind of style. And we ended up in Grand Island, and it was nothing that like I imagined. The city where I was born is like a big city. I would say maybe like larger than Chicago or Houston. And so coming to Grand Island, I feel like back then, we came in 2005, like it was like I don't know, maybe 30,000. And so like that was a drastic change for me. Like I just felt like, what are we doing in the middle of nowhere? So it was completely different from what I saw in the movies to coming here to a small town. Like this was my first experience with like small town in the United States.
Coming here, I had in mind, you know, like New York, like big cities like New York, or what you see in the TV. So I moved in November, right? So it was no green at all, no water. It was cold. And then I remember coming in the bus and looking. We were driving through York, I believe, and just seeing the cornfields and the cows. And I'm like, am I back in Mexico? Like, what's going on? And then when we got to my grandma's house, because that's where we stayed at the beginning, I was like, where are the big buildings? You know, the traffic. And I would think, oh, maybe we're like on the outside of the city. Well, you know, we'll be fine. And then when we went to the mall, like it was so small. Like I've been to malls in Mexico that they're bigger, and I was like, oh my god, this is so different.
I know a lot of things before came to here because I read for news, on social media, and you know, for the like many things for the social, you know, the America is better. You know, like for education is good.
When I came here, I qualified for free and reduced lunch, so I got food at school, which in Mexico, like you took your own breakfast or lunch to school. And so that was like different for me, having that like, oh, there's food at school, which it was also a change because I wasn't used to American food. And so that was like, even like breakfast pizza, I was like, why are they eating pizza for breakfast, you know, like small things like that. Or like when we had like either chocolate or vanilla milk with like our hamburger and fries, I was just like, sometimes they would have the juice options, right? But I was like, why are we drinking milk with a hamburger? Like it was like small things like that that I mean after a time I got used to it, but the food was definitely something different for me.
In school, I think that's when I had my first cultural shock, because I forgot that people speak English in the United States. So I went in and then nobody spoke Spanish. And that's when I was like, oh my god, Lupita, like if you want to graduate high school, if you want to, you know, get your bachelor's, you need to learn English, and you know, you kind of have to work a little bit harder than what I thought.
I learned English, but it took me about 2 years. I know my brother learned it right away because he was 6 years old, so it was a lot easier for him. But I think it was that learning a different language, I think also put a strain on myself, setting those high standards, because when I was in Mexico, I was skipped ahead a couple grades, and then here I was set back a couple grades because I didn't know English.
Yeah, you know, when I came, you know, this English is hard because we are coming from the country speak Arabic. So yeah, most people speak Arabic and English doesn't important there. Yeah, because if you study for preschool or elementary or high school or university, all by Arabic. That's was when I came. It's very struggling for me. So right now I'm trying to speak.
I think at the beginning, like one of the biggest struggles was the language, just being able to communicate with people. And then I think one of the other struggles is just, I guess, adapting to like a new culture and how things are done here differently than they were in Mexico. Like, and I think a hard thing for me is like, I'm Mexican and I grew up with my Mexican culture, but I'm also growing up in America with the American culture. So kind of like choosing, like, do I want to do this or that, because I'm influenced by both cultures.
So the biggest struggle was when we moved here. Like I said, when you seek asylum, there's a certain period you can't go back. And the biggest struggle was when my grandma didn't tell us that she was sick when we were coming here, because she knows, like, as any parent and like as any child, if you know they're sick, you wouldn't want to leave them. And she didn't tell us until we came here to the States and we weren't able to go back. And then she disclosed to the family that she had cancer. Well, she was sick. They took her to the doctor. She has cancer. And then she died like October of that same year.
And then moving here, I had to say goodbye to my friends, but also to all the hard work that I had been doing since, I started school in Mexico. So it was hard just being here and like not knowing nobody. I had just met my mom's family, which they're super nice, but at the beginning they were strangers to me. And then not having friends because at the ESL, I was the only person from Mexico. We had people from Somalia who don't speak Spanish. And then we had people from Guatemala that are pretty shy. So I would try to talk to them, but they were kind of like, you're too much. So I think just feeling lonely, feeling depressed, and then feeling like all the work that I did, now I have to, even though I was 15, like now I have to start over and learn English and try to graduate high school. But since they put me a year behind, it kind of felt like impossible.
I was undocumented there for a while. I think that was my biggest challenge because I had huge dreams of going to Wayne State College and becoming an educator. Unfortunately, at the time when I went to college, in-state tuition for undocumented students was not a thing. And I had gone full ride scholarship to Wayne to become a school teacher, and then I had another scholarship to go to UNL. But 2 semesters in, they are like, hey, unfortunately, your scholarship does not cover your out-of-state tuition. I'm like, but I'm a resident of the state. And they're like, but you're undocumented, so unfortunately, because of that, your tuition is now essentially was almost 3 times of what I was already paying. And I ended up having to drop out. And that was like, I think it was a turning point in my life when I realized that part of something that it was out of my control because I was brought in as a child when I was 8 years old. It was difficult to accept because I saw myself, giving back to the community that I grew up in, and becoming that a teacher that helped me and made a difference in who I am.
There's a lot of teachers that like I still communicate with that it's just crazy to be like, oh, I was once a student and now like I'm talking to you as a professional, or just, I don't know, all the connections and the people that have helped me throughout my whole, I guess, life journey. And just the public school system itself, again, it was different from what I knew in Mexico. So just coming here and just having that support from my teachers, whether, in high school, whether it came to helping me prepare for college or even in college, like just all, the teachers and people around me that helped me.
My English teacher, who also was my drama coach. Then I had my Spanish teacher, my history teacher. And I truly believe that when they say that it takes a village to raise a child, I want to say that specific group of people in the community of Madison, Nebraska, did take me in and allowed me to grow. And I can never give back enough to that community.
My teachers were really good. They saw the potential in me and they kind of encouraged me when I was afraid or when I was doubting myself. So they encouraged me to get my bachelor's and accomplish the dreams that I once had.
For my plan before I came to America, I was made the plan goals. If I wanna go to America, I wanna do various things like I wanna make money, wanna buy home for my family, I wanna buy home for my owner, I wanna study or learning English to improve my skills. Then I wanna go to college right now. I'm intending to start college next January. Yeah.
all my siblings and I, we got scholarships to go to college. So we pretty much got full rides. We all graduated with bachelors. It made my parents very happy. I think for any immigrant family, father, parent, mother, to see their hard work and sacrifice pay off means a lot. So I'm pretty sure my parents are pretty happy.
America has many opportunities. It is open for everyone who wanna do, like if you wanna study and you wanna career, and there's many opportunity, and that's, I think it's not cost too many money. And if you don't have money, so I know the government can help you to make to success your any goal here in America. So this, I think is many countries not do that, but here in America, if you have goal, you can achieve your goal. So just I wanna say everyone who wanna come to United States, you should make a plan for himself or for his family. So and the plan you can, if you wanna go to learn United States for learning, it's okay. If you're gonna go to make money, it's okay. But you should plan that specific time. If you wanna do this for this year, and next year I wanna do second one, third one, like that. So because if you make that, that will help you to make successful for your life.
I would say ask questions. Just ask as many questions and step out of your comfort zone. That's the only way to grow, right? Like it might be uncomfortable at the beginning, but then you'll see how much you can accomplish. And also surround yourself with people that believe in yourself, people that see the potential that maybe you're not seeing right now because you're too afraid.
My advice would be that first, like, do what makes you happy. If you want something, you can work for it and like work really hard for anything. But anything is possible if you really try. And also, like, don't forget your culture or your roots, because I feel like culture is so rich that, like, I know here in the United States we have so many good things, but like I think it's important to remember like words you say, like traditions you have with your family. And very much like the family traditions you have, like I know my family were very close-knit, and I know there's some cultures where like it's just not like that, but I think it's very important to just keep like the culture alive.
I guess I would say obviously learning English is a big important thing to be able to communicate with others, but I think not being scared of asking questions, and I think also being okay with holding your culture, being okay that you don't have to come here and forget who you are and forget about your roots, still having that in you and having that being something important in your life, and something that if you have kids that you can pass on that culture, not just coming here being like, okay, I just gotta adapt to the American culture and forget who I am, still keeping that as part of you.
I know frustration is huge. Frustration of not knowing the culture, not knowing a new language, maybe being misunderstood what your needs are. But just take a deep breath and realize that opportunity awaits. You just have to go. You just have to take it. But sometimes it takes a while. But never despair. Because at the end of the day, now you're better off than you were.
My exposure to the Stuhr Museum was when I was in school and they would bring us to field trips. So I think when I was thinking of, being part of this project, it just kind of blew my mind that like when I was little, I never thought like, oh, I will be part of an exhibit. I just kind of like, I came here, we kind of learned about history, and in my head, like learning about history as a kid, you're like, oh, that happened 100 years ago and things are different now, and you learn about it and then you go on with your life. Like I never thought that I would be part of that history.